folks, we got a 2-for-1 here. We're going to be reviewing 1941 Humphrey Bogart black and white film noir film, High Sierra. But before we dig into that, we're going to be reviewing this BLT on Ora wheat bread. So here it is, BLT that my wife just cooked up for me. Little Roma lettuce, aroma tomato, and romaine lettuce and bacon.
It looks delicious.
Mm-hmm. Mmm.
I tried it before.
It needed avocado. I'm going to go 4 out of 5. You want to go a bite? What do you think?
10 out of 5.
10 out of 5. That's fair. Can you go get me a seltzer? Thank you, son. All right. As you watch me disgustingly chew. Woke up at 5 a.m. before everyone was awake. Bought this video cassette at the thrift shop a couple of days ago. Interestingly enough, if you go to the website on the back, bogartfilms.com, it takes you to the Warner Brothers website. So, oh, soda.
Soda?
Yeah, not salt, soda. So, this is a very chaotic review, folks. This film came out in 1941, hour and 40-minute runtime. It was directed by Raoul? No, there's an O in there. Raoul Walsh. And this particular video cassette came out in the year 2000, so we're at the tail end of VHS here. But the quality of this tape was superb. This is a partnership between Warner Brothers and Turner Classic Movies. So it has the TCM intro, and it shows the original trailer, and it was just a really clean video. This is showing me that in certain films that are not 16:9 aspect ratio, they are actually okay on video cassette. If you're on a budget, I paid 50 cents for this tape. I'm going to take another bite of my... I was about 15 minutes into the film, and my wife came out. She woke up early, so she watched it with me. So this is an adaptation for screen. The screenplay was written by William R. Burnett and John Huston. This is an adaptation of the novel of the same name, written by William R. Burnett. And it would go on to gross $1.5 million at the box office and cost $491,000 to make. It was shot on location in Big Bear, in the San Bernardino Mountains, Lake Arrowhead, and at various points along the Sierra Mountain Range. So, again, this is considered a film noir film. Interesting. This is considered Humphrey Bogart's breakout film role. Prior to this, I'm going to take a sip.
Yeah, just turn this way then.
He was mostly in B films and was never cast as a leading man. However, this movie would solidify the friendship professionally and personally between Bogart and John Huston. One of my other top Bogart-Huston collabs is Treasure of the Sierra Madre, which is a 5 out of 5 film. This film, it was entertaining, but it just... I get it. It's considered Bogart's breakout film where he became a lead actor.
He's such a ham that he wants to be on camera, but he also wants to eat. I'm talking about Zachary.
It's a movie of its time. It's not my favorite film noir, because I have nothing against the time period of his films.
Yeah, but...
This is just not my favorite Bogart film.
Yeah, that's delicious, I guess.
So the director, Walsh, he originally wanted to cast another guy named George Raft as the lead actor. But
sit down.
Bogart really wanted the role and talked George Raft into letting him go for the role. And spoiler alert, the other guy, George Raft, that originally was to play the Roy Earl part, did not like the fact that his character died at the end of the picture. So then the role would go to Bogart, and this would show his acting prowess. Other than a supporting actor, it would be his first lead man role. So tell everybody about the premise of this film and what's kind of going on.
Okay.
You missed the first part of it. He gets out of prison. He'd been in prison since the early 1930s for some other robbery.
So I'm pretty sure the baby slept through the night for the first time in a super long time because, and this is somehow relevant, so just hold on. So I put him to bed at about 8:30, and I woke up at 5:30 in the morning with him, fed him a little bit, put him back to bed, and then I heard there was a movie on, so I came out to watch this black and white film with Corey. So where I stepped in,
Side note, this isn't the type of movie you usually go for.
I don't usually go for black and white. I can get into black and whites, but it takes me a while. And this guy just really wants to be on camera and be a part of it.
You can be there, but don't say anything.
So, basically I walked in on, she's there with all the guys and they're in a house and they're planning their robbery and all their shenanigans. And, so I started watching it from there and it was better than I thought. I guess overall I'm 3.5 out of 5. I felt like there were some good morals in this story. One of the big ones I got out of it was don't fall in love with a criminal. Because the main gal here, she falls in love with the Humphrey Bogart guy. Is that his name? I'm sorry.
The Roy Earl character.
I'm not familiar with him and most of the actors in these older films. But anyways, she falls in love with him. At first, he's like, he's not really that into her. I don't know what Corey said about the plot, but he loves this more. He finds her more attractive, or
so
more,
I don't know.
I don't know what he likes.
I don't know
about the younger gal.
I think you might have walked in. You walked in a little bit late. So one of the earlier plots in the movie is he's driving out from Indiana to California after he'd been released from prison, and he's driving through the desert. And there's an old Model T or Model A Ford.
Zachary's face.
And this old man and his wife and their granddaughter are on their way from the Midwest to California. And there's almost a car accident because a jackrabbit comes out in the road and they swerve to miss it. And then
I really did miss a lot.
They meet up at a gas station and the Humphrey Bogart character almost crashed his car. The elderly couple in the Model A almost crashed their car. Or Model T, I don't know, whatever. It was one of those two. And then he sees this young daughter. And from Humphrey Bogart is an older guy at this point. He's got to be in his mid-40s. And this girl's like in her late teens, early 20s, and she's got a club foot.
Oh, I saw that part.
And he's like smitten by her, and she was engaged to be married to this other guy, which is funny because they make a big deal that they took her away because she was engaged to a guy that had been married and divorced, and that was super scandalous.
Risque, so they tried to separate her from him because that was super bad.
But Humphrey Bogart doesn't really realize this, thinks he still has a shot.
But shout out to Caitlin. People can get divorced and remarried. It does happen. So there's that.
Of course.
And there's no judgment for any of my divorced friends out there. You lived your life. It is what it is. Contrary
you never know what happens in a
to
marriage,
an argument
right?
that I had with my neighbor on Facebook earlier. So anyway, back to the plot.
God doesn't like divorce, but there are exceptions. And sometimes we don't know what happens behind four walls. Things happen. This is life. People are sinful. Divorce happens.
Let's bring it back into the movie here. People are not watching this to hear a moral of turpitude.
They're not? Because I find a lot of moral
but there is that wasn't the moral emphasis that we
don't
take
fall
away.
in love with a criminal.
No, that has nothing.
Because if you do, it's only going to end badly.
I think that to me is the thing. It's like crime doesn't pay, right? This guy gets roped in by some mafio, some friends of his from the underworld from his past to go and commit this heist at a luxury resort in the Sierra Mountains, and the High Sierras, as it were.
High Sierra, that's what the movie's called.
It doesn't work. He dies at the end of the movie. Spoiler alert. It came out in 1941. Okay.
Still watching.
So interestingly enough, the director of this film would do a remake of this film 8 years later after the war in 1949. He would redo this film into a Western called Colorado Territory. But it's basically the same movie except for it's in a Western.
Wow, really?
So it was okay. This is not my favorite Houston Bogart collaboration. It was enjoyable and entertaining enough, but I'm going to go 3 out of 5. I'm sorry.
I found it entertaining.
So,
did you talk about the dog? So there was
So side note about that.
Right,
there is a dog in this movie. It was Humphrey Bogart's dog in real life. That's why the dog was like having such an affinity for him and following him around.
Oh, that's cute.
Interestingly enough, the dog at the end of the movie when he dies, they used a stunt double to tumble down the mountain, and in order to get the dog to go up and sniff the guy out, because it wasn't Bogart, they had to like layer the guy with dog treats so the dog would be enticed to go up to him. So that's a fun factoid.
Oh, wow.
Rotten Tomato critic average is 92%. This is considered a film noir Humphrey Bogart classic.
Dang, those
and
are some big bites.
5,000 plus audience member average for Rotten Tomato is 78%. And I'm more along the lines with my 3 out of 5.
Yeah,
7.5 out of 10 on IMDb.
Okay.
So
That's
it's an enjoyable movie. I liked it, but it's a one watch. I will not be.
Yeah, I was
Unlike
gonna say.
unlike this other
Yep, you lost a piece.
this other Bogart Houston collab, I've watched multiple times and I've reviewed it here on the channel. If I'm going Bogart to Bogart films and Houston and Bogart collabs, this to me is the winner of the two. This is a classic. We should watch this together so I could get your opinion on it.
Wow, the names are so similar. Well, as Sierra.
The screenplays were written by the same guy.
Oh,
This movie takes place in Mexico, but I'll link the review for this in the description because I've also reviewed this film.
Okay.
Thanks for
I just
watching.
wanted to say that the dog thing was like, okay, so
Could I have a bite?
Yes.
Okay.
okay, good. Sharing is caring.
Kraft
So
mac
the
and
dog
cheese.
thing, there was like this guy.
More.
Was he a friend or something? Well, anyways,
Who?
there was this other gentleman
Oh.
who was around. Can I just can I tell it from my
Go ahead.
interpretation? Can I just finish one sentence?
Yeah.
He like was hanging around them. You can explain why. And this dog kept following him around, and he said, "Oh, the dog is basically a bad omen because everybody that the dog attaches to ends up getting like really sick and dying somehow." And the Humphrey Bogart character is like, I don't believe that. It's like just superstition.
And that in another Facebook debate that I just had with my neighbor, this movie would come with a modern snowflake sensibility trigger warning because I recently had a debate with a neighbor about Aunt Jemima, the syrup mascot.
Pancake syrup, yeah.
And this movie has a very racist caricature of a black man that is a worker at this cabin ranch that they're staying
That
at
was
in
the
the
gentleman
mountains.
who
His
the dog-
eyes go crossed and he talks exactly like you would expect a racist southern caricature of a black guy to talk. Incredibly racist, incredibly offensive to the modern sensibilities. But he's just kind
he
of
was right though. He was dead on
his
the
char-
money.
he was
the Humphrey
right.
Bogart character should have listened because that dog was the demise of him basically in the end. Like it's funny because his character was like supposed to be this ruthless, like his character was supposed to be like this ruthless
killer.
robber guy.
Yeah, and he kills a
killer.
lot of people in the movie.
Yeah, he does kill people,
But he doesn't
he's-
mean to. Cause remember, he shoots that guard, and he's like, "I shot him low so he wouldn't die."
Oh yeah, he's like he was too like sweet and nice to really
I
he
don't
shouldn't have
care about it.
been a criminal because he was too nice
I
to
don't
be a
care
criminal.
about it.
Anyway.
That's a wrap,
I don't care
folks.
about
Thanks
it.
for watching.
What
Sorry
do you
for
say
all the
something?
other
What do you want to
distractions.
say? What do you want to
Roast
say?
me in the comments.
I want to say something.
Go ahead.
What do you want to say?
Maybe a guy was. I'll throw some poops at him.
Like the bad guy?
Yes.
You'll throw some poops at him?
Wow.
All right, be careful. This is a child-friendly video.
Okay, folks. Now we're really gonna wrap it up.
All right.
This video
Yeah,
is
no,
pretty
that's
much
not right.
ruined
I want to
now.
say something again.
No, you better not.
Bye.
Bye.